This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
प्यारी लगती है मुझको, सबको इसे सवार लो मोहब्बत और प्यार से।
Ratnadeep supermarket in Hyderabad, with its chain of stores and gradually increasing customer base. But what sets it apart is the humane approach in its back-end operations. Meet Ratnadeep employees. 38-year-old Kameshwari and 25-year-old Gayatri. They have intellectual impairment and work side by side with other employees. They are part of a team from Swayam Krushi, a city-based non-governmental organization. At the warehouse, they sort, pack and weigh fruits, vegetables and pulses. Repetitive tasks do not trouble them. A few can handle barcoding. It's been a 5-year-long collaboration.
We started giving the opportunity and it worked well.
So how are they doing? I mean, are they, as employees, how do they work out?
They're extraordinary. They just basic briefing required for them. And maybe if the 10-15% here or there, it doesn't matter. I would always recommend them. Moreover, there is some place in every organization for such people.
Do you feel there's any change in the girls after they've come to work here?
Definitely. Definitely, because the kind of that they are empowered with, and they are working in a environment like this with all the other workers, and the kind of self-reliance, the kind of confidence they have in them. At the end of the day, when they know that they are earning a heavy pay packet of 5,000 each with a lot of bonuses they have for festivals, like for Diwali they were given a bonus of 4,000. So it has really helped them. It has really helped them for in their personality and the way they are able to.
What happens to that money that they earn?
We have open bank accounts for them. So a part of it they use in buying their toiletry items, and the remaining part is in the bank. Each one has a separate account.
Rashmi.
The driving force behind the initiative is 70-year-old Manjula Kalyan, founder-director of Swayam Krushi. She believed in the potential of the mentally challenged, their employability in the open market. Take for instance the ever-smiling Manju Sharma, who has intellectual impairment. Along with 9 others, she now works at a cardboard box factory, Vivala Cartons, on the outskirts of Secunderabad.
1 year back when they approached, I was a little bit hesitant to take them. But after 1 year, I can say these underprivileged people are much more efficient than the normal people. I am very much happy about their work. Concentration on the work. Say when they want to insert that word, accurately they will insert. So accuracy of keeping the things, they are 100% of much more accuracy than the normal.
So how do they come at the same time? They work for 12 hours? Do they manage?
No, they are not working at 12 hours. They are working for 8 hours. That's why I am paying at par with the 8-hour wages only. Because transportation, they are to bringing from their transport, and that vehicle will come at 5:30 in the evening, and they'll go back in that vehicle. One supervisor from Swayam Krushi also comes. Whenever these guys feel any problem, they directly enlighten that problem to their supervisor.
Some other students are working in a beauty parlor, some in the housekeeping section at a 5-star hotel. What makes it significant is the fact that these are open employment opportunities and they challenge the stereotype that the intellectually impaired cannot be a part of the world of work. The reality is that people with intellectual impairment have so far been confined to working in sheltered workshops run by NGOs. The few companies that are willing to hire people with special needs only consider those with physical disabilities. There are nearly 90 million people with special needs in India. Of these, only 2% are educated and 1% are employed. At the Swayam Krushi Center, the sheltered workshop helps to train the students. They peel garlic, ginger, sambar onions, prepare moong dal sprouts and supply them to hotels and supermarkets. Liquid soap and phenyl are made for different offices, including the State Bank of India office. The paper bags go to boutiques and the handcrafted items are picked up as corporate gifts. Employment is just one of the ingredients of inclusion. At its core is Swayam Krushi's pioneering concept of group homes. 22 years ago, when inclusion was an unheard of concept, Swayam Krushi had begun to practice it. In 1991, it set up its first group home with 4 girls who were mentally challenged.
What did she say?
She slept off, so her both two has gone.
Adult girls who would live together as a family. It was believed they could lead as normal a life as possible if they were given training. Instead of being isolated and hidden on a campus, flats were taken on rent in residential colonies. It ensured they were not separated from the community. This is Gayatri and Kishtama's flat. They live with 6 other adult women and 2 caregivers like Kumari. The women handle tasks related to managing the house, whether making the bed, sweeping and in some cases cooking.
उपमा बनाया और दूध सबको डाल दिया ग्लास.
I'm a professional. I have come and joined and I am at National Institute for the Mentally Challenged. And while working there, and I used to interact with many mothers and the parents, and every mother used to come out with one thing: what happens to my girl after my death? I mean, I'm not saying the siblings do not take care, but they are busy with their coming up in life, their children or their studies, their jobs. Then I thought, let me do it. It is something that the girl should live by herself, with under some supervision. And that's how Swayam Krushi is born.
To keep the cost low, it was planned that 8 girls would live in each home. Of them, 3 would have mild disabilities, 4 moderate. The 8th would be a girl with severe disabilities, like Mamu, who belongs to Guwahati in Assam. Her mother is a teacher and her father a policeman. They were unable to give her round-the-clock attention that she needed, or to find an organization like Swayam Krushi in their region. Mamu has now learned to be toilet trained, to wear her clothes by herself. Mamu's presence has a unique effect on her flatmates, bringing out their capacity to be sensitive to care.
क्या करते हो मामू के लिए? मामू को स्नान कराने, खाना देते, पानी कर देते हो.
The whole concept is to make them as independent as possible. We assess the child, which tells us the strengths and the weaknesses of the child, and we build up with the help of the strengths, their weaknesses, and bring them in par. Not in one area. It is a holistic approach. Suppose he has a behavior problem, then we manage the problem while teaching other things. It's not that we are going to stop, make him behave properly and then start teaching, because he'll be losing time.
Today, there are 7 group homes housing 65 adult women and another one for men. Iqbal Muzaffar, a retired state government official, brought his daughter Rafia to Swayam Krushi 11 years ago when she was 30 years old. She was diagnosed with severe mental challenges.
36 years I am giving her treatment and going around India wherever possible. I went and tried. Ultimately I got admitted here. Since last 11 years she is working here. She is with this hospital and improved a lot. Otherwise she has no sense of urine, no sense of toilet, no sense of clothing, no sense of shame or something. Sometimes she removes clothes completely. Madam Manjula Kalyan, who is managing this institution, excellent lady, and God has given some vision, you can say, just like a Mother Teresa, a mini Mother Teresa you can call for Hyderabad. We are unable to handle one girl, whereas she has hundreds of children she is handling day and night. They are not burden for society, and the society need not feel sympathy to them. It is their right to live in society. God has created them. So many creatures of the gods are living in the world. Tiger are living, snakes are living, scorpion are living. So many creatures are living. Why can't they live?
By early evening, the group home members return to their flat. And it's time for a walk through the neighborhood to the park. They've learned how to be socially acceptable at public places. For instance, when they go for their monthly outing to a restaurant, or to religious functions and marriages that they are invited to in their neighborhood.
Then we sort of decided that we'll only go where she's
33-year-old Chotu, who has cerebral palsy, is from Delhi. Her father, a retired army officer, and her mother, a World Bank employee. Like Chotu and Mamu, many here belong to different parts of the country, a pointer to the lack of appropriate programs and teachers for assisted independent living. At one school, they had a horrifying experience.
Few months we started noticing that she used to come with cane marks on her leg. Then we did go and speak to the sisters, and the sisters finally said, you take the child from here. We can't handle her. She loves eating them.
Keeping Chotu at home was not an option since it was hampering her development. Then they heard of Swayam Krushi and Manjula.
We don't have a
She had one look at her and she said, "We bring her." So I said, "She's not toilet trained." So she says, "Not your work. We have to do it." And I took her in December, and within about one day I just left her and I came back. And January I went and brought her back for the first holiday, and she could indicate going to the bathroom. She could go by herself. She needed a little support, but she could go by herself. And since then it has been a gradual but very marked improvement.
Chotu, who has been at Swayam Krushi for 18 years, goes to Delhi to be with her family for about 40 days in a year. Her learning has come from peer interaction, peer pressure, and a teaching method based on repetition.
Who is this? Name?
27-year-old Shirisha, who is Down syndrome, came 10 years ago from Warangal city. She had lost her father. Her older brothers are software professionals and live separately with their wives and children in Hyderabad. Both her sisters-in-law are employed.
I met her before I was just got married because he wanted me to meet her first and to understand how is she, and because I have Sirija is the first person I met who is mental Down syndrome, and initially was very scared to handle her. Then with the help of Manjula Kalyani madam and Kalavani madam, I was able to understand the emotion of these people. After joining her into the Swayam Krushi, we have seen a tremendous changes in her.
I can say they have encouraged her to participate in other activities. For example, the Republic Day parades.
Do you think this kind of thing could have been possible in a home setting, like in your own home?
I frankly think it would be a big ask because they are specialized in that. Okay, whereas individual parent, they need to do a lot of research. Definitely it is their responsibility because we have a child. Okay, my father was a government school teacher and my mother was a pharmacist with the ESI hospital. So they had to balance a lot of things. Any special school would be of a greater help. We don't have to run from pillar to post for a speech therapist or a specialized doctor.
The center also reaches out to 90-day scholars with special needs.
I found the teachers here are very good. They take one-to-one interest. My son loves being in the school. So he's very active. So it shows that if they're together with other boys and girls, they will definitely react very well.
It would be no exaggeration to describe Swayam Krushi as a place of smiles, where the mentally challenged find a non-judgmental, comfortable space. A majority of its residents belong to poor socio-economic backgrounds and did not receive relevant education, training or growth opportunities. Some women are over 40 years of age by the time they are brought here, typically after their mother's death. These cases are difficult and they need intensive therapy, one-to-one training. A lot depends on trained personnel, which ties into the organization's resources and financial capacity. So it decided to innovate by training single women who needed shelter as caregivers. Kumari, who had been deserted by her husband, has found a meaningful vocation.
పని చాలా బాగుంటుంది మేడం. పిల్లలతోటి పని చేసుకుంటూ వాళ్ళకి చూపిస్తూ పని రాని పని వాళ్ళకి నేర్పిస్తాం మేడం. పిల్లలతో ఉండడం ఇంకా అలవాటు అయిపోయింది మేడం. ఇంటికి వెళ్ళినా సరే మేము ఇక్కడే పిల్లలతోటి ఇప్పుడు పిల్లల దగ్గరికి వస్తామా.
Swayam Krushi has started a B.Ed course in special education approved by the Rehabilitation Council of India, New Delhi and affiliated to the state's Osmania University.
Taking the limitations, we are seeing what is his needs. What is
Swayam Krushi is not getting enough qualified teachers. So by this way we can give the training to the teachers. And the teachers who are working with Swayam Krushi, who has lot of experience but don't have the qualification, they are joining this course.
Swayam Krushi is the state's nodal agency for the National Trust. Its pioneering group home concept has been celebrated and honored with national awards. It has inspired families and other professionals across the country. The training is meant to make assisted independent living a reality for mentally challenged women at their home and community. But there are numerous challenges.
That I am mad. We have so many houses built for the government quarters. There are so many, everywhere there are PWD things. I said, just give one house of it for a subsidized amount to people like us.
Initially conceived as a 3-year program, they found that a number of women were not being taken back by their families. In fact, some have stayed on for more than 10 years. While training is a gradual and ongoing process, in a number of cases, siblings were reluctant to take their sister back after their parents' death. There were also 27 orphans who had been sent by the state homes who had nowhere to go. Swayam Krushi is responding to these challenges by building an old age home for the mentally challenged on the outskirts of Secunderabad. It will be part of its new center, and by cutting down on rent, they will be able to extend their programs to more people. The group homes, however, will continue to be outside the campus. Swayam Krushi has shown that the mentally challenged do not need to lead impoverished lives.